Are you happy with your art? I am pretty happy about mine. However, recently I have been working on the very first chapter of my webcomic, and it has helped me realize my art is very inconsistent. If you are familiar with me, you might know my art style as rather simplified anatomy. However, when I try to draw more complex poses in said anatomy from different angles, I noticed I was struggling to keep my proportions, well, consistent. So I made the very reasonable choice to put myself through the pain of studying an artist much more skilled than little old me. Surely nothing could go wrong. Introducing you, Mai Yoneyama. She is a famous illustrator known for her beautiful illustrations, predominantly featuring anime girls. The way she draws faces is super recognizable, especially the eyes, and the way she draws hair is scrumptious. She is also a master at composition, often using the golden ratio to guide the viewer's eyes towards the focal point, the face. So for my first study, I decided to go with one of her black and white paintings. I didn't feel like tackling colors yet. So I chose to focus on the golden ratio composition, the way she draws hair in such a flowy way, as well as this beautiful lighting scenario. One of the most important fundamentals is knowing your values. It's almost more important than colors in a sense. The thing is, I kinda suck at values, I think. See, when I'm drawing, I'm only very rarely setting my canvas on grayscale mode, which is a shame because I often end up realizing something is wrong when I already exported my drawings. So going into this first study, I was a little scared. Even with a grayscale piece, the amount of details was just so overwhelming. I tried to get the anatomy right all by myself, but I also didn't shy away from overlapping my own sketch over the piece to see what I was doing wrong. The hardest part was definitely the hair. It looked effortless in the original, but once I tried breaking it down, it was layers upon layers of carefully crafted chaos. Strands, clusters, overlaps, everything interesting all at once. It was a real struggle, and as time went on, I was also staring at the same drawing for hours, but I also started noticing elements I would have completely missed before. Like all the small light at the bottom of her face and neck doesn't only have depth, but it's actually created by both light, something really simple, but something that I almost always forget to incorporate in my own art. And finally, after hours of suffering, I finally came up with a result that I was proud of. Of course, it was nowhere near as good as Mai Yoneyama's original piece, but my version felt close enough to call it a win. And after what felt like a massive victory, I wanted to focus on something a little more chill. This is why I decided to trace this second artwork. The point here was to 1. Understand the way she does her line art, and 2. Focus more on the coloring part. I didn't want to overwhelm myself after the last study, which took me a lot more time than I had anticipated. So I also picked a drawing with a more simple shading and colors. I love this illustration of hers. The interconnected bows, the serene look on the character's face, the pose, everything, gosh, it looks beautiful. I also wanted to try to emulate the look of this gloves material. This study, as expected, was a lot more simple despite being focused on trying to understand her every choice while she was making this illustration. It was also very relaxing. I really loved drawing those white bows as well as shading the skin. One thing I found fascinating was that the girl's skin color is very desaturated, grey looking even, and yet the blush and shadows color was this vibrant, saturated light pink. It effectively creates such a nice contrast. Another thing that made this study a lot easier was the lack of dramatic lighting. If you look at a few pages from my webcomic, current work in progress by the way, link to my Discord in the description if you want to see more of it as I'm working on it, I post approximately a page every Sunday, so yeah, but it's also prone to disturbances as it's final exam months for me. But anyway, as I was saying, if you look at some pages of my webcomics, you might notice I love a good dramatic lighting. However, I'm not the best at it. I'm still figuring out where the light and shadows should go, all that on the 3D plane. And that's fine, because in the end, I'm still learning. And that's why I'm going into art school next September. Yay! Notice that finally this is the final result. Again, I think it turned out pretty good. This one definitely was a lot less of a challenge, but it was a lot of fun, and I think this is something that is really important and that is easily forgettable when you are focused on getting better. But you should always have fun when drawing or whatever it is you like doing. If it is your job, yeah, it comes with a certain amount of pressure, but if you are doing this as a hobby or not as a job yet, try to take it easy, even during your studies, otherwise you might just end up hating what used to make you passionate. Side note, I know, there are worse feelings than that, you get the image. Also, let me just hijack this video by saying that if you like the video, so far at least, make sure to subscribe if you want, or comment and like the video, because it actually really helps the algorithm. And I hate to be the YouTuber saying this, but it's pretty rough out there for artists, so this is a really nice and free way to support us. That and commissioning us, of course, but that costs money, that's not free. Next, I just wanted to take a little break from the complex art studies and chill a little. At this point, I had just studied a complex grayscale piece as well as a simple illustration to analyze her line work and colors on the most simple level. However, there is something very recognizable about her art style, and that is the facial structure, and more particularly, the eyes as well as, in my opinion, her side profiles. So this time, I tried to study smaller pieces of her works and focus on these two aspects. It did take me a while to nail down the exact curve of the nose as well as these little details that make her faces so recognizable, but after a little trial and error, this is what I got for this part of the study, and listen. From that point, I was actually really confident. I understood her faces better, I understood her colors better, and I had spent days analyzing her work. So naturally, I thought my next illustration was going to be amazing. It wasn't. At all. So the point here was to try to use everything that I had learned from my studies and make my own illustration with this brand new knowledge. I was so confident after the last few tries that I thought I can do it. So I did it, and at first I somewhat liked it, but now I just really don't like the result anymore. You might look at it and think there's nothing wrong with it. However, what bugs me personally is the face. It just doesn't look as graceful as Yoneyama's. Of course, I'm still a little art baby, so it's no surprise it's not as good, but it still frustrates me a lot. I was really bugged after this, and I felt like I had failed my challenge. As I was writing this very script, I started doubting whether I should make this video at all, simply because I didn't feel proud enough of the final piece and what I had achieved. But this was until... Hey! It's Pride Month! So yeah, I'm a part of the LGBTQIA+ community, and you might be wondering what the hell does this have to do with the video. Bear with me, because it is Pride Month, I wanted to make a special illustration featuring my personal flags. This was supposed to be a drawing that had nothing to do with the challenge, and as I created this new Canva to, draw this thing that had nothing to do with the challenge, I thought, wait, why not just try again with this illustration? So, yeah, the first time I think I tried to replicate her art style a little too hard. So here I approached this differently, by keeping my personal art style and using the little things that I really loved about her art to enhance mine. For instance, I tried to give the eyes more definition than I usually do, drawing the tear dot as well as the waterline, like she does herself. I also wanted to give the hair a flowy look while keeping it simplified. Finally, I made sure to use colors that reflected a serene, happy scene, and I did so by making the background a beautiful cloudless blue sky, as well as complementing it with a vibrant orange tone skin color. Oh, I struggle to say that. I also tried to steal the way she draws the knuckles and different finger joints. I don't know, I know, I just find it satisfying as oh my god! I just find it satisfying as hell. Help! And after 7 hours, here's the final result. I really love it, actually. I rarely draw anything that looks so peaceful if you look at my art for a second, so you bet I was happy with this. This was actually a pretty massive journey for me as I started working on this video back in April 9th. So yeah, that's where I was going, that in, working on a webcomic. So I think the main takeaway from me doing this whole thing was to understand that the point of studies is to learn from the people you admire without erasing yourself. I was trying so hard to become that I just ended up making a drawing that I can't look at without feeling utterly disappointed. It's only when I tried to apply what I had learned to my actual art that wasn't even meant to be featured in the video that I actually got to make something I was proud of. By the way, once again, if you are interested in my webcomic, know that you can join my Discord server, as I said, because it's here that I post my pages every week before the full release on webcomic hosting websites. You can also post your art in the server as well as meet incredibly nice people. And if you want to talk to me or like show me something, whatever, know that I'm like obsessively online on my server. The people can attest in the comment, I guess, those who are in the server. And yeah, I answer to almost everyone. So I'm sure that at one point it probably won't be possible anymore, but yeah, we are far from that point. Anyway, you guys, don't hesitate to tell me in the comments what you thought of this little journey, and tell me what was your favorite study out of all these four pieces that we made. It's hard, it's like my third... Okay, I'm gonna... This is improvised, no script, but I have to say this is my third time recording this because the 2 first times I tried to record it with my microphone, the usual one that I record my videos with. It's not working. My microphone just didn't want to work tonight, so I had to record this again and again. Yay! So I don't know. I don't know how that sounds. I'm just too tired at this point to re-record it one more time. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow, the French slipped. Anyway, thank you for bearing with me so far. I wish you all a great day or night or evening, Pride Month, everything. And on that note, bye, friends.